sweet dude. We'll get to it. Sorry, I had to get it out there.
No, I'm getting all stoked for it too.
Well, sweet. So we're here on episode 8 with John Daniel, local trainer here in Austin, Texas, from Denver, Colorado. And I kind of just gave your background, but do you want to also give your background?
Yeah, of course. So, like you said, from Denver, Colorado, moved out here in Austin about 2 years ago. Really just wanted to change of environment from the hometown. Beautiful place of Denver, Colorado. Not going to talk down on that, but wanted to get into a new environment with new people, new community, people with the same vision that we're striving for. Similar things that I was going for. And, sure enough, within the few months of moving down to Austin, started to rub shoulders with some cool people, including yourself. And everyone's got a similar vision in terms of health and fitness, business savvy, all of the good things that I really want to incorporate into my life. So I'll kind of just give you a background story of really what brought me to this point of being a trainer and the type of people that I help and go down that road. So fast forward or rewind about 10 years ago, I was a collegiate athlete. I wrestled in college. So grew up around sports, played every sport you can imagine, was on the soccer team, swim team, baseball. I really got passionate about the combative sports. So I went into wrestling. That moved into, I went to school in Minnesota for about a year. Came back to Colorado, graduated from Colorado Mesa. After I graduated, I was itching my skin, was like, man, corporate America is just not for me. I was very business savvy, wanted to do business, but didn't necessarily want to go the traditional path of going into the corporate world. Still went into the corporate world after I graduated, was sitting in a cubicle one day and was like, what lit a fire in my belly? Health and fitness. It was always there, was always a staple in my life. But what really brought me the most fulfillment was teaching others how they could be sustained in that health and fitness journey. When I was back in college during the off season, wrestling, you have to cut weight. So a lot of that fluctuation of weight throughout the summer, I was getting big in the gym, and in that I was helping people also get big in the gym. And that's where it was really fun, because I was like, man, I'm almost having more fun teaching other people how to get big and get in shape than I do in regular season wrestling when I'm cutting weight. So I really honed in on the things that brought me that fulfillment, and I was like, all right, man, how can I help the most people that I can? And being business savvy, I was like, all right, well, we live in the digital world. How can I leverage the digital world to make the most impact? And that's really where the whole journey started. I was like, all right, the first thing is, the environment. I got to get myself surrounded by people that are going for the same thing. Moved to Austin, started my online fitness coaching business. And then it was, what kind of people do I really want to help? And being an entrepreneur myself, it was like, all right, well, I can really jive with the people that are self-starters. They're self-motivated. They already have an idea of what that vision looks like and where they want to go in their health and fitness. They just don't necessarily have a structured plan or sustainable approach.
They're moving, but they're not like moving.
Exactly. And I think that's really what clicked in my head was, who can I truly help that understands the mindset that I have, that I can portray onto them, and that they can take and use for the rest of their life. And, I tell all of my clients, my goal as a coach is to be your last coach you ever have to hire, because I want to give you the skills, the resources, and the knowledge to take that on for the rest of your life and really be able to really dig deeper on the whole purpose of why we're doing something like this. And so I really work with any high-level professional, whether that's a business executive traveling from place to place, whether that's a business owner, like I said, entrepreneurs, people that are really self-motivated and really wanting to attack life, not only for their health and fitness, but also have that trickle down into all of these other pillars of their life. Because once you get your mind right and your body right, you're starting to show up in your mind, in your business, your family, all of these relationships a little bit more passionately, a little bit more with that energy that's true to your authenticity. So that's really what started the whole venture, started me down that path, and really what allowed me to, create the most impact that I truly can create for the people that are like myself.
I love that, man. No, and I think, if you're working with tech founders in Austin, you probably should maybe be like, oh, you can pay me less, but maybe I'll get a little equity in your company or something.
Right. Yeah. No, and it's always fun working with business owners too,
Yeah.
because it's like, all right, I've dipped my toes into a few different industries, whether that be real estate, whether that be MLM, whether that be, depending on what this is, social media, right? That's another aspect that's really been big for my business. And when I'm hopping on the phone with these business owners and they're leveraging social media, it's not only about health and fitness. It's also about how can we learn how to leverage our businesses and maximize our business potential. So being included into all these different industries, having conversations about, okay, well, let's say one of my current clients right now, she owns a juicing company.
Cool.
She didn't have any idea how to maximize social media. One of my past clients owns a social media growth agency, so I'm able to shake their two hands, kind of leverage the network there, and it's one big happy family in that sense.
Love that, man. And where at in Austin do you train?
Yeah, so I train out of a couple places. Factory is a big one. I really love
Where's Factory? I feel like
Buda. It's in Buda.
What color is the equipment there?
Green.
Is it green? Okay, I've seen that one. Yeah. Do you know Phil Whitcomb by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He trains there, right?
Yep.
He left our golds, man. We keep losing golds people to different gyms. So that gym looks pretty sick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the aesthetic look there. I feel like.
Oh, for sure.
Some cool green.
How far do you drive to go there?
About 25 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think that's like that's like my favorite gym. But my everyday gym is more so Lift ATX, and that's the half indoor, half outdoor gym.
Yep. Shout out Daniel.
Yeah. Shout out Daniel. Right? Yeah. No.
Dude,
for
that
sure.
I just saw the expansion the other day. I was
Dude,
like,
that's huge, isn't it?
Huge. Well, I had him. So I had Daniel on my my startup podcast because he doesn't run a startup, but he kind of does. Like a gym, especially like the way he's done it, it very much was like kind of like a startup. And so I'm actually going to repurpose his episode for this podcast. He's like, I'll do it again. I'm like, nah, I'll just make it sound like you were on this one. But dude, yeah, I always felt bad plugging him because I was like, this gym doesn't have enough space for more people. So I was like, I don't even want to hype the gym up because people are going to be crowded in there. And now it's like, oh, dude, it's going to be so cool.
It's super cool. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, they're already making a ton of progress in that too. They just scraped their whole auto dealership. They're going to be building outside. They'd already got the double outside built.
Yeah.
So I think my favorite part about it is, you're walking around there with your shirt off. The energy's high. It's I can sweat and bleed everywhere and just get after it. So I kind of like that attitude. Yeah. And I think that's why I would say that honestly, Lift ATX has got to be my favorite gym.
It has to be mine too. I mean, I think it's a part of this podcast, like how do you motivate your clients and that kind of stuff. And like, I'm not a client myself, but like as someone that works out, it's like I go to my Gold's gym, I do my thing, I come home. But then I did a chest workout at Lift ATX last week, and it just shredded my chest because I did like 10 more sets than I normally would. I'm a really big, I'm just busy and I don't care as much anymore. So I'll go to the gym, I'll do 3 sets of bench, and then I'll move on to the next muscle group. And there I did 9 sets of different benches and everything. And I was so sore, and I was like, God, I wish I could. But it's just you get motivated when you go to these fun outdoor gyms that have music blaring and everyone's shirtless and everything. It's fun, man.
Oh yeah. If you get, and that's why I keep mentioning the environment, right? In every aspect of your life. You step into an environment that's going to push you to be a little bit better. And, like we always say, it's like you're the average of the 5 people you spend your time around. So it's like, if I'm going to be spending my time around the people in the gym, I'm going to really try to push myself to be around the people that are, double my size, that are lifting double the weight.
Exactly.
Because subconsciously, I'm going to push a little bit harder and, and go through that rep a little bit stronger than if I was just in a Planet Fitness per se.
Yeah. Sometimes it can be too much, though, I'd argue. When I used to work out, I used to train at Gold's Gym Venice for 3 years. Dude, the guys would walk by. I'm like, I'm never gonna get anywhere. I like it in Lift ATX. I'm like, okay, I can get to that guy's level. And well, they're also roided up in Venice, but at the same time, they would just be monsters of human beings, and I'd be like, I'm never gonna get to that point. I don't know, what we're doing here. And there were some days where I would literally finish a set and I'd sit up and I'd be kind of looking in the mirror, and then some dude would walk behind me and I would be a shadow of this person.
I'm
just like, oh God.
There's days I walk in there and I'm like, all right, I feel good today. I'm feeling big. I'm feeling strong. And I'll look to the right. I'm like, all right, that humbled me a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, back to the drawing board.
It's tough, man. It's tough. What's your favorite muscle group to hit?
Man, I think that changes from month to month.
For sure.
Because, you know, I'm super hyper focused on my body, obviously. And when we're in the gym, especially like a gym like Lift ATX, you can take your shirt off. So I'm sitting there, I'm lifting with my shirt off, and I'll notice like certain things about my chest. I'm like,
sure.
I need to really focus on my chest this month. So I'm going to
Yeah.
hit chest 2 times this week for this next month. And then, you know, I'll be in there the next month. You know, I'm like, man, my legs are looking like chicken legs. Like, I need to be hitting legs 3 times a week. So I think in terms of what I love to hit the most, I would say back. Like, I enjoy hitting back the most. I think, honestly, just because I can put up the most weight in my back.
Oh, fair enough.
So it helps my ego a little bit.
I also do love, like, the feeling of just, like, you can just feel your rhomboids and your freaking rear delts and all that stuff. Just, like, it just feels like you're doing something.
Yeah, the mind-muscle
yeah.
connection's a little bit better there with the back muscles for me as well. I think that I've always shied away from legs. And that is so traditional to say, but
yeah, classic.
It's like, that's honestly, I've been able to use that to my advantage, knowing that I don't want to do legs. So when I know that I've got a tough week or there's a chaotic week ahead of me, I know I'm going to hit legs the first day of that week. For 2 reasons. One, because I know that if I do the thing that I hate the most the first time of the week, it makes everything else a little bit easier. And 2, when I do it when I don't want to do it, that actually helps me like lifting that muscle group a little bit more.
Yeah.
Still haven't gotten to the point where I'm like, I love lifting legs.
Dude.
But
I love legs. So I've gained some weight. My ass is way too. I have a huge ass. It's too big. My legs aren't too big. It's more my ass. So I don't do legs anymore.
Yeah.
I got to a certain point like during college, and then I just like have barely. Also, I have lower back issues too. So squatting heavy just kind of messes me up. But I just do Pilates now, just toning them up.
That's good stuff.
Kicks my ass every time.
That's good stuff.
Kicks my ass.
That and hot yoga, dude.
Hot yoga, yeah.
I started doing some hot yoga, and I was like,
Yeah.
like, it's yoga, right? I get in there,
Dude.
like, okay, this is a real deal.
Dude, especially when they jack up that heat. Like, there's points where I'm like, I'm waiting for someone else to leave so I can follow them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the first one, but no, Pilates, I do it and my legs just shake and I can't even finish. It's the one workout that I can never get all the way through no matter what I try. It's so hard. But speaking of that, so like you obviously go through those things with yourself where you're like, oh, I don't want to do legs, or maybe I need to focus on this. Like, what do you do with your clients when they're going through those things? Are you kind of like, you know, sending them like text, like, you got this? Like, what is your like way to like get your clients to do stuff that they don't want to do?
Right. So obviously with each client, there's different levels of accountability for different visions. So each client has a different vision of where they want to go. So my coaching is solely dependent on what that vision looks like and how we can sustainably approach that vision in a way that's going to be an enjoyable process.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that if you hate lifting and working out and you want to have a 6-pack, that working out is going to be super fun for you, but it's necessary. So for each client, you know, I'm going to treat somebody that's been sedentary for 5 years and is wanting to lose 80 pounds. I'm going to treat their vision a little bit differently than I'm treating one of my clients that's training for a marathon and is trying to bulk up a bit at the same time of training for a marathon. And so they're different visions, but there's the same resistant point, if that makes sense. So our life is all of these resistance points, and they all look different to all of us. But if we can find a way to push through that resistance point in that moment, we're able to really move the needle in our goals. So I think that the biggest thing, man, is really focusing on like why we're doing it. Like, why are you wanting to get a 6-pack?
Yeah.
Why are you wanting to run a marathon? Like, what's the reason you're really trying to do the thing that you're trying to do? And then we reverse engineer from there.
Yeah.
Because if we can remember that reason of why we're doing the things that we're doing in that moment of resistance, that's going to, the end result's always going to be favorable in our direction. So it's like, all right, well, if we can focus on that, that's the other thing too that I really like to talk about with all my clients is I bring a very holistic approach to health and fitness. It's not just, all right, you're going to come work with me for 90 days. We're going to lose 10 pounds so you can fit in your, you know, your tuxedo for the wedding coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, let's talk about how that makes you feel and why you want to get to that point. What's your self-confidence looking like once you lose that 10 pounds in that 90 days? How's your energy levels? Are you sleeping a little bit better? How are you talking to yourself in the mirror when you walk by the mirror, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror? So it's like really honing in on the mindset and the mentality of why we're doing the things we're doing ultimately is what drives the needle on that stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. And then how many clients are you currently working with right now?
30 right now.
30 right now? Okay.
Yep. I'm actually looking to hire another coach to kind of help me with some of that stuff, just because, you know, my whole mission is to provide as much value and impact. And so being the single coach with my company, I have a certain amount of bandwidth that can provide that much value. So, you know, the next step in that business venture is to, you know, hire a coach that has the similar mindset and direction on how to pull clients in the right way. And yeah.
Would you hire that coach to help with these clients? And then also, if you hired them, would they have to bring on their own, or would you give them their own clients?
Yeah, man. So it would work a little bit differently depending on who I bring on. I think that the main focus right now is finding somebody that understands the values that I have and the values my company has. And so starting with that step one, then we can kind of tell the direction of, okay, where's your experience and knowledge in terms of training people? Have you done it online? What's your vision if you want to have clients after you're done working with me? Is that something that you want to fully dive into, or is this something that's going to be on the side while you're working a corporate job, right? So kind of depending on that person that I do find, it's gonna vary. But as long as the mindset and the tactics of how we bring our clients up is on the same wavelength, then it's gonna fall into place.
And then how do you have you coached in person before?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you currently have any in-person clients, or?
So I have a couple hybrid clients right now. One client, she owns a real estate development company, and we do HIIT workouts at 7 a.m. at Zilker.
Nice.
And so 4 days out of the week, she's in the gym, and I've got her, you know, her meal plan and her workouts. And then she likes that extra oomph of accountability on Fridays to keep that momentum going through the weekend. And, you know, then we meet at Zilker and we do a HIIT workout, maybe go jump in Barton.
Very cool.
But again, it's kind of in terms of maximizing business, right? If I really want to bring the most value to as many people as possible, I have to be super focused on where that time goes, right?
Exactly.
So I can't necessarily have all of these people that are a hybrid approach. I have to kind of pick a few of those people that I think, you know, are in alignment with what that looks like and kind of go from there.
So we're going to have some trainers listening to this that might have some clients in person and online as well. What is your pricing online? And then if that client goes, okay, let's do it in person, obviously you're going to charge more because you need to value your own time. So what is the pricing difference between that and in person?
Right. So with pricing, it all comes down to, as you're growing as a business owner, your time gets limited, right? So your pricing goes up, especially like I mentioned with the amount of clients that I have, that if I don't decide to bring someone on, then that price is always going to go up because I need that bandwidth still. So currently what the pricing structure looks like is I sell 3, 6, and 9 month packages online. Now, I used to do month-to-month packages, but what I came to find out was it was kind of a shit show because people would work with me for 1 month. The next month, they gain all the weight back. The third month, they come back. They're like, I need to have some help again. So I was like, all right, this isn't going to work. The lowest I do is a 3-month contract working with me. Now, if you are in Austin and you are wanting that extra layer of accountability, a normal in-person training session from like a Lifetime Fitness, for example, would range anywhere between $75 to $100. For myself, all of those hybrid sessions, whether it's once a week or twice a week, that's a rate ranging around $150 to $175.
Okay.
And I think the biggest thing about this whole thing is you have to have an open dialogue with your clients to understand why we're doing hybrid and how often we're doing hybrid. And if the reason is only we're doing hybrid because that's the only thing that can keep you held accountable, well then there's some misalignment there. The whole idea of being online is to create that sustainable approach so you don't have to rely on me every single day for that hour, right?
Yeah.
If we're bringing that lifelong lesson, that lifelong sustainable health, we have to find something to hold you accountable, but But not only that, we have to find something that you can hold yourself accountable for. So when I'm really kind of figuring out what the hybrid model looks like, it's meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
It's really understanding, like I said, it's like wherever you're at in that journey, we have to find something that's truly sustainable for you. And then based off of that is kind of how I structure the program.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, I mean, I personally, like, I just have one client that I use on WeStrive. Like, I run the company, of course, and I'm just like, I just got one guy that, like, signed up with me, like, years ago, and I trained him in person for a while, and, like, he knows what he's doing, so I felt, like, pointless almost. Like, I would help him with his form, of course, like, with lunges and that kind of stuff, but, like, I just felt very, like, I don't need to be here, so I just lowered his price and went online, and he's, like, has been hitting all of his goals. Everything's great. We communicate every day. So it's just like, you don't really need to have that in-person experience for a lot of clients. But going back to your online pricing, so what is your, I don't know if you mentioned it, sorry if you did, but what is your online pricing now? I think you actually did mention it. And then versus what was it when you first started?
When I first started, I didn't have any clients. So
yeah. I mean, after your first clients.
Okay. So I mean, where I'm at now is $550 a month for that 3 months.
Okay. So did they pay that up front, or did they do?
So there's a few different options. If it's paid in full, I'll give them a 20% discount. So as we go up in packages to 6 month, that drops to $500 a month. So a 6 month package with one coaching call a week for accountability would be about $3,000.
Okay.
If that's paid in full, again, you're getting a 20% discount with that. And then as you switch to that hybrid model, that's going to be marked up about 10% on both packages. And then again, it's like if I'm hopping on a discovery call with a potential client and I understand that we would jive well and I can truly and authentically give the support that they need in order to move the needle in their life and in their health and fitness, I always work with them. It's like, okay, I start off with that once a week accountability call. If that price point's too steep for you, all right, let's drop it to bi-weekly so we have 2 weeks for integration. And then we can still have that bi-weekly support. And so that price goes from $550 to $375. Now, the last tier, it would be a 1 call a month type package. And I really don't suggest that to any of my clients unless they're at a very high level already. So unless they've already proven to themselves that they can hold themselves accountable to a program and they really only need once a month calls to check in, I'm like, all right, where's the structure at? Where's your head at? How's your nutrition been? Let's go through your food logs and see where we need to adjust and pivot and really just understand like where this is at and how to structure that moving forward. It's not necessarily an accountability. It's more so a pivot and adjustment call. But I would say 99% of the time I'm doing the bi-weekly or once a week calls with those. Okay,
very cool. And what was I gonna? Oh, so when you're training your clients, what like I always kind of try to ask trainers this. I'm always curious like what type of training they do. So are you, and I know it varies per client, but are you a big like circuits guy, supersets guy, drop set, rest pause? Like what is your like vibe when you're training someone online?
I love that question because now after, training X amount of clients at this point, what I've understood is if I sit here and tell somebody that hates lifting weights to go lift weights 7 days a week for 2 hours a day, they're going to look at me and flip me off.
Yeah.
But then again, if they sit there and tell me, well, my goal is to have a six-pack to build muscle and to lose fat, it's like, all right, well, we need to come to an agreement within yourself and myself to understand that there's certain things that need to happen in order to get that goal. You're going to have to pick up some weights, incorporate some resistance training into your program in order for us to really move the needle in that whole process. So we can work with that. So if it's somebody that doesn't necessarily like lifting weights, I'm going to probably throw in 2 days of resistance training and then 3 days of something that they already love doing. For example, if they like to run, if they like to hike, if they like to pickleball, spike ball, go to stuff like that. So it's more so like, all right, I can deal with 2 days a week of resistance training, still knowing that I'm getting in the gym doing that stuff. And then, the next week comes, let's go 3 days a week. But if you were to ask me personally, I would say that 80% of people that come to me are trying to build muscle and lose fat.
Okay.
we all know how that happens. We're going to have to incorporate weights and resistance training into that process. So progressive overload is everything that I preach. That's everything that's gotten me to the point that I've gotten to right now. I wrestled at 149 pounds in college. So I needed to figure out a way to gain muscle. I'm about 195 right now.
I was going to say 195. I swear on my life. I'm really good at guessing body weight. I swear. I was like, not 200 and not 190.
That's awesome.
I was about to say 195, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Well, you got it. You already knew
Maybe
it.
I can change the camera so it looks like I said it first. 195. Okay, there we go.
That's awesome.
Nailed it.
But so I was like, all right, I need to understand what do I need to do to really get to have the muscle that I want to have.
Yeah.
So I did that for 5 years, and I understood that it's all progressive overload and protein.
100%.
If we can simplify the whole, so my company's name is Simple Savage Fitness.
Okay.
The whole idea of that is perfecting the simple things gives you the greatest results. So if I can focus on protein intake and progressive overload, we're going to move the needle in that progress. It's going to happen. Now, you can sit here and tell me, well, I wasn't able to hit that third set or that fourth set, and I wasn't able to reach my protein goal because I was busy and I didn't have the food here. It's like, all right, we can sit here and say that all day. But at the end of the day, like if you're not doing the things that I'm telling you to do, you're not going to see the result that you want to receive, that you want to see. And so, long story short, I would say that progressive overload and protein intake is the two biggest things that I preach to all my clients. To keep it super simple.
And honestly, like that's one thing that, I mean, I can attest that if you don't do that, nothing happens because, I mean, I'm good with my protein, but I just get so busy and I just like, I need a better environment like a Lift ATX to work out because for the last 10 years, I've just done like a 1% decline. Like my bench and I don't squat anymore, but my bench, shoulder press, everything is like maybe 5% worse than when I was 21. But just because I use WeStrive to track it, but I'm not like going out of my way anymore. Like when I was in high school and college, I would like track like percentage growth and do all this stuff. And it's not that I don't care, but it's also that I kind of don't care.
Dude, I'm right there with you. And I'm a coach. When all my clients come to me, they're like, well, how much did you track this, and this? I'm like, listen,
Just go hit the weights.
I know how I feel. So I've gotten to the point, and this is what I try to coach all my clients on, is the more we do the food logs, the more we go into the gym and do the progressive overload, the more we do that, the more we're going to understand the mindfulness of how our body's feeling on certain days, how much energy we have on certain
100%.
days. And then you start to listen to your body a little bit more. So now you don't even need MyFitnessPal to track your calories. You don't even need to know how many reps you're doing because it's a feeling in your body that you know, okay, did I give it all today? And I know walking out of the gym to this point, it's like, all right, I could have probably pushed it a little more, or I probably, went a little too hard. I don't really think that's a thing, but you know what I mean. You can get a feeling for what your body is and kind of rock with it.
No, I've been at the point for years where I can, on my way to the gym or before I work out, I can know how many reps of a bench press or of a pull-ups that I can do before I even do it. I'm like, I know my max today is about 13. And then I can just I get to about 13 and that's like pretty much where I can go to. It's crazy how your body starts to feel these and one thing I always talk about is I'm bringing up bench again like a tool, but I love when I'm benching and I can feel that like plane of motion that you hit when you feel like you're just like doing it correctly. Yeah. And it's just cool, like the mechanics of your body where it's like shooting in basketball, like what feels comfortable and like when it's going to go in or not. And over time, your body can totally do those things. And I'll argue the MyFitnessPal thing only because I snack like a fucking motherfucker, dude. I snack so much. So when I don't count macros, I gain weight. And when I count macros, I lose weight. So
see, and that's where
terrible.
That's where I was just going to say is we're all different. We all have different habits. And I think for myself, I'm just lazy when it comes to eating. Yeah. So what I'll literally do to set myself up for success for the weekend, and I have a sweet tooth, like a major sweet tooth. So like when I'm eating dinner or lunch, it's like I need something sweet after that. Of course. Yeah. So what I've done is like, all right, I know that I'm going to get all the things that I need for my macros for the week, for my breakfast, lunch, and my dinners. I'm going to only get that stuff, and I'm only going to allow myself to buy the things that I know are aligned with that macronutrient goal for myself, because then it's like, well, I don't want to have to go to the store after dinner and then buy something else. It's like, I only got one of these. And it's like, well, if I eat two of them, then I'm not going to have one tomorrow. So I better so it's all almost just like making sure that I'm doing the things and putting myself in the right position to make the right decision, and creating it's almost like inflicting more resistance for the bad decisions, if that makes sense.
Very much so. I mean, yeah, like that's why I just don't buy chips or anything like that.
Yeah,
like
Quest, bro. Quest chips, protein chips.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I mean, on the way here, I got a protein cookie. I mean, it's like, but at the same time, if I bought protein cookies, I would eat them within like 4 days. And that's my problem is like, I don't have ice cream in my place. I don't have chips. I don't have anything like I will just eat all of them, and it's a terrible problem for me. So I just don't have any sweets in my place at all.
That's bold, man. I get one of the biggest things I've been doing lately, and it's always like trying to find things that are aligned with that protein goal, right? So like you said, protein cookie, dude, I'll get those Quest protein cookies, and I'll get 4 of them. I think it comes with a box of 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I know that Monday through Thursday, I can have a cookie after my dinner. But if I eat 2 of them, well, I'm not going to have one on Thursday night then. So it's like, all right, like, and again, it's like 20 grams of protein for 1 cookie. So I can almost subconsciously feel a little bit better about myself when I'm eating it. It's not the best thing in the world,
of course
but
not.
it is 20 grams of protein. And if I've got, my protein goal and we can really focus on that, I mean, Alex Hormozy eats dessert every single day.
Yeah.
There's a reason for why. It's
is he jacked though? I don't know is he jacked?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I can't remember.
Yeah, acquisitions.com. He's one of my idols.
Oh no,
Alex
yeah.
Hormozy.
No, man, I know Alex. I just like I can't think of.
He's shredded. He's jacked,
okay,
and his
gotcha.
biggest thing is he always posts on Instagram his dessert every single night. Like amazing, like such good desserts. And I'm just like, dude, how do you still have a 6-pack?
Yeah.
But he makes it work.
Dude, I burn so many calories each day, and then I am struggling to lose weight. It's pissing me off, and it's because of what I do on the weekends. Don't get me wrong, but
you know that
pisses me off.
And you know it.
It pisses me off, man. Okay, back to your business. Where do you see your business going? Like, what are your goals, or do you want to have like? Because we have some coaches that have like 4,000 clients, but they're all like $20 a month, just like auto, whatever. So they're not like there's no coaching calls involved. Well, 2 questions then. 1, do you ever want to do the automated thing? And then 2, if you're not going to do that, how many clients, assuming you add other coaches, do you want to have eventually?
Yeah. Great question. And that vision goes through my mind every single day. I think right now, one of the biggest things that I'm working on building is a community of people where it's a low barrier to entry. So like a $50 a month subscription to a customized program where I'm not having the once a week calls or anything like that from a fulfillment standpoint. So I'm not ever having to really worry about that. So that's one thing that I'm really working on building right now. And in terms of vision for the company, I really want to get to a place where I partner with certain entrepreneur groups. Corporate companies have a corporate wellness company package where I can go in and I can work with all of their top performing C-suites, high-level executives. Because again, once the whole idea of when our mind and our body are in alignment and it's now reflecting on our business as a company, the value's there, and then the revenue starts to go up. So I think in terms of my vision for that, like scale wise, I really want to start getting my foot in the door with those corporate companies and getting those corporate wellness packages in place. So I think that's next steps, kind of what the vision looks like. And then obviously as those partnerships start to land, starting to bring on again more coaches to kind of have that bandwidth dealt with. So.
Yeah, I think corporate's the best way to do it. I mean, do you know Sean Hickel by chance?
Yeah.
Is it? No, it's Sean.
Sean.
Wait, what's his middle name now? What is Sean? Sean Alexander. There we go. Sean Alexander. His name's Sean Hickel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. But he talked about like before he started training, he was doing corporate coaching during COVID and just like did like 100-person Zoom calls and would just like run through that, and it was really good for him. So, do you ever do like big, boot camp classes or anything like that, or like you're strictly like a one-on-one guy?
Yeah, right now it's strictly high touch one-on-one. Main reason is, like I said, trying to provide the most value, and I understand being as high touch as possible, really diving into what the roadblocks in my clients' lives are and what got them to the place we're at right now, and really unpacking that is where I can provide the most value. So that's really where the focus is right now. But again, it's like as I start to scale and as I start to kind of dip my toes into the corporate wellness world, I think that understanding, bringing that level of the high touchness is going to be difficult because there's going to be more heads, right?
For
and
sure.
so in a corporate wellness program, how do I figure out a way to have that high touch accountability across a board of 100 people?
Exactly.
And then you kind of play with, competitions and, challenges and stuff along those lines where people are working themselves up in their own company.
I love that. Well, sweet, man. I mean, do you have anything you want to plug or anything you want to, we'll throw the Instagram handle on there and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Everyone can find me at only John Daniel on Instagram or at Simple Savage Fitness on Instagram. Either works. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on and let me dive into all this stuff.
Dude, it's a pleasure, man. And we'll this episode should air in like probably 2 months or something like that.
Cool.
We'll create a bunch of shorts and reels for you to use, and then kind of go from there, dude.
Love it, man.
Pleasure. Thanks for coming on, man.
Of course, my man.
Boom.
Like butter.
I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to the My Fitness Business podcast, powered by WeStrive. Head to westrive.com/podcast to check out more of our guest interviews and learn more about the WeStrive platform. Have an amazing day, and don't forget to keep striving.